All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into two absolute legends of peer-to-peer systems, two platforms that really changed the game for sharing information online, BitTorrent and Gnutella. So let's kick things off with a classic internet headache. I mean, a really big one. Picture this. You've got a massive 100 gigabyte file, and you need to get it to a million people. How in the world do you do that without your server just completely melting down? Well, the old school way, the client-server model, just can't handle that kind of pressure. It's like one person trying to serve drinks to a million guests at a party. It's a guaranteed disaster. But peer-to-peer systems, they flip the script completely. They brilliantly solve this by turning every single person downloading the file into a new server, spreading that load out so no single point gets overwhelmed. Okay, so we get the why behind peer-to-peer. It's all about distribution. Now let's get into the how with our first case study. BitTorrent. What's the secret behind its famous divide and conquer approach? All right, before we go any deeper, let's get some of the lingo down. First, BitTorrent doesn't see one giant file. It sees a bunch of small, manageable pieces. The whole community of people sharing these pieces, that's the swarm. And the thing that plays traffic cop, keeping track of who's in the swarm, is the tracker. Now, if you have the whole file, you're a seeder. If you're still grabbing pieces, you're a client. And yeah, for anyone with a database background, you can totally think of this like sharding a file, where every single peer becomes a mini server for the shards or pieces it has. And here's the real magic, the core idea. Literally the second you download your very first piece of that file, you don't just keep downloading. Nope. You immediately start sharing that piece with others. This is a total game changer, because the distribution power of the whole swarm grows exponentially with every single person who joins in. Okay, that sounds amazing in theory, right? But it all hinges on people playing nice. So what's to stop someone from just downloading everything and not sharing anything back? You know, the classic leeching problem. This is where BitTorrent gets really clever. It has this built-in economic system, a mechanism called tit-for-tat. And the core principle behind it is beautifully simple. If you want to receive, you've got to give. Here's how it works in practice. Your BitTorrent client is constantly watching. It sees who's sending you data the fastest, and it rewards them by sending data back to them at a higher priority. This is called unchoking. But if you're being selfish and not uploading, well, other peers will notice, and they'll choke you. They'll basically cut you off, and your download speed will just plummet. It's simple. You have to contribute to get good service. Okay, wait a second. That brings up a little paradox, doesn't it? If you need to share pieces to download pieces, how does a brand new peer with absolutely nothing to offer ever get that first piece to even start trading? Another smart solution. It's called the optimistic unchoke. Think of it as an act of charity in the network. Every 30 seconds or so, your client will randomly pick one of its neighbors and just give them a piece, optimistically, even if that neighbor isn't sending anything back. This is the little crack in the door that lets newcomers get their foot in and become part of the whole trading economy. So we've covered fairness, but what about the overall health and speed of the swarm? How does the system make sure the entire file gets distributed to everyone as fast as humanly possible?
It does this with another genius idea, the rarest piece first algorithm. Imagine a giant jigsaw puzzle. Instead of everyone grabbing the easy edge pieces first, BitTorrent tells everyone to find and grab the piece that the fewest other people have. By prioritizing the rarest pieces, it makes sure that all the different parts of the file get spread around quickly. This prevents bottlenecks and means the swarm doesn't have to rely on that one original seeder for very long. Okay, so BitTorrent is incredible if you already know where to find the file and the tracker. But that opens up a whole other can of worms. What if you don't? How do you even find a file on a totally decentralized network? Well, that's the exact problem Gnutella set out to solve. Gnutella's first attempt was, let's call it enthusiastic. It was a pure, unstructured model. To find something, you basically just yelled your request to all your direct neighbors. Then they'd yell it to their neighbors, and so on and so on. To put it in database terms, this is like running a massive broadcast query on a completely unindexed, distributed database. It's a lot. Yeah, as you can probably guess, that did not scale well at all. The network was just flooded, hence the name, with search requests flying everywhere. And because people were always connecting and disconnecting, this chaotic system was super fragile and unstable. So that brute force approach just wasn't going to cut it. Gnutella had to evolve. And it did. by creating a much smarter hierarchical structure within the network. It shifted to what you could call a hybrid model. The network started to organize itself. It identified the most stable computers with the best connections and promoted them to supernodes. These supernodes formed a kind of high-speed backbone for the network. So now a regular user, a leaf node, sends their search to a supernode. That supernode checks its local connections and also passes the query along the backbone to other supernodes. It's like having a distributed system of index servers, routing traffic intelligently instead of just shouting into the void.
Okay, let's step back and look at the big picture. What are the key takeaways when we compare these two pioneering systems?
And the contrast is really what's so fascinating here. You have BitTorrent, which was laser-focused on solving one problem and solving it brilliantly: how to distribute a known file to a lot of people super efficiently. Then you have Gnutella, which took on the much messier, more complex problem of discovering files in the first place. It shows that journey of starting with a pure, decentralized idea and then evolving toward a hybrid model to actually make it work in the real world. So this all leads to a really important question for us today. When you look at these early systems, you see this constant tug of war between pure decentralization, the practical need for scalability, and getting incentives right. So what can we learn from their journey as we build the next generation of distributed apps and services? If you want to dive into more topics just like this one, you know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.